Now, after you have set up your grading schema, which was under Manage and Grading Schemas, you can deal with these columns. So basically, these columns are visible to you, and you can decide which ones should be visible to the student and which ones can be visible to you. So personally, I prefer to have, as for you as a teacher, as few columns as possible in order not to confuse you. So username is never used. So I hide this, and so it's clear, and it only shows what assessment parts you have. And with this, and then I build more columns so that the grades can be communicated to the students, grades as well as the feedback. So after you have cleared it, hide from the instructor view is what it hides from you. You don't see it, and if you want, you can also do this hide from the students, and this will hide it from the students. If you are, for example, in the process of grading and you want to announce grades after you have graded everyone's work, so you can do this. And this basically, if you go to student preview, will not be visible to the students. So it's easier for you to grade and then open it at once. Okay, so back to the full grade center. I will open this. Okay, so it's visible to the students, so it's also visible to you. And if you make something invisible to yourself and later on you want to make it visible, you can go here, and everything is now visible. You can see this is hidden, so you can also make them visible later. So it's very useful if you like to work on certain columns and not the others. Show selected columns and submit, and it will show everything and last access and so on. If this is useful for you, you can do this. So I'll go back and hide those columns because I never use them. So this ones will be unavailable. And total, this grade is kind of, let's hide this all. So this total is kind of a curious function because it sums up all the grades that you give to students, and sometimes you get here things like 800 or and so on, but this is very confusing for the students. So for everybody, let's change this tick here. This tick means external grade, so our external grade will be weighted total. So let's switch it there, and then hide this from students. This is very confusing, and also hide it from yourself. Please make sure that you hide it from students first, because if you hide it from yourself, students will still see it. So nicely we have here weighted total, which calculates the columns and also your individual columns. So as you build your assessment, they will appear here and also to the students. And there are two things here. The thing is that you want your students to show their work to you. So I've also described it here. So you need to make the student work visible. And making student work visible can work in two ways. So one way would be making it visible in the class on the paper. This is possible. So and also it can be through Blackboard. And through Blackboard is convenient, obviously, but if you are used to paper-based tests and or products, that's still fine. You can still record the information here. The information must be recorded here because it is communicated to students as well as to the parents, and this is the only way that we communicate. So if you want to collect your assessment work, or if you want the students to show their work to you, you will need to create the tool. So the tool is, this is obviously not visible to the students. What's visible is this, for example. So let's say that here I create a folder. I will call it assessment parts, and inside that this is basically a simple before grades, let's say. It's a simple content folder, and here these functions are really interesting. So this is what you communicate to the students. So there are various ways of communicating to the students, and this is what the students communicate to you. So if you use any of this, the students will be able to submit things to you directly. And this is both ways. So discussion board and so on, it is you communicate to the teachers and students, and the students communicate back to you. And so for assessment, we said that the idea is for the students to communicate back to you. So you will use one of this mainly. So you can decide which one for which kind of work, and for homework. So because we have decided here that apart from attendance, teachers need to collect the homework, and there's 20% for the homework, and then there will be thematic assessments, and there will be final exam. So you decide which how to collect this. So I will use one simple tool. Let's say you can explore this later. Simple tool, let's say assignment, and I will call this let's say homework for week 1, and I write a description of the assignment here, and so that the students know what they need to do, and I can set a due date for that so that it appears in the due date column. Let's call this for the 1st of October. And how many points? The points must be 100 for each. So we grade each work based on A, B, C, and D, and that's only possible with 100. So possible points is 100 always. We will control that based on the weights. And you can add a rubric here of how you will assess this work, because this is for open-ended questions usually. And some more details if the students can submit as a group and so on, and grading options, anonymous grading and so on. And then you make this available to the students. So what happens is that the students can click on this and submit their work. So so this is set, and as soon as you create this graded assignment, some of this can also be graded because it's 2 ways. Nothing here can be graded, so it's this two, because the students need to show you something or produce something so that you can grade it. So this 2 can be graded. So if you make it graded, it appears in your column, and also it appears in the students' my grades. So now it waits for a grade or feedback. So let's go back to this assessment part, and I will make it visible to the students, and now the students can see it. So if I go to the student preview, and what happens is that I can go to this, you can call this also homework or weekly work, and then I want to upload my work. So description will appear here, and then students can write submission or they can upload, and I will use the upload function here. So let's choose one of this. Let's say this one. So this is what the student sees, and so obviously once the student submits it, it is visible to you as a teacher. So I'll go back to the teacher mode, and so when you go to the full grade center as a teacher, this is your main tool, and you will see the students. Ramil has submitted this, and you can view it and grade it. So this is the work that has appeared. So your rubric, if you add it, will appear here too, and So this will be gradable now. So the interesting thing is that you can write, or it's important to write students some feedback, because feedback is very, very important in the learning process. So I will write very simple, well done, Ramil. Ramil, you loaded your work and get back to you. And and I can give it a grade. So let's say I gave this 65 and submit it. So the interesting thing is that this shows us 65 as a grade, but we want to show the students the letters, not the grades. That's really important here. So we need to go to the column information here, and then there should be here quick column information and also edit column information. And here, interestingly, is you can show students what you want. So here it shows score, and so it will. I want it to show ADA school schema, because I want it to show the students the letters. And you can also choose a secondary one, but that's not recommended. And then here. So I gave Ramil C for his work, and on the background it is 65, and this will be, I will explain how to add this to the weighted column, so that the weighting column also gives you a grade, and that will be in the next video.